Hello, friends. How's it going? How are we doing? Allie Ams, thank you for the lurks. I appreciate it. Anyone else who might be hanging out? Hello. Luna, thank you for the lurk, friend. Hope everyone's time zone is going well. It's been a heck of a week. I mean, it's been a heck of a number of weeks. It's been a heck of a few months. Woof. But that's okay. I don't have much to say this morning, aside from a general reminder that we're doing our community challenge this evening at 6 Central. Dinner sandwich time. It's gonna be great. You should be there. You should be there for me to eat this bad sandwich. I don't think it's gonna be bad, honestly. We're gonna do more Wytchwood today. Actually do some Wytchwood. I mean, I guess we got a lot done in the hour that we streamed on Wednesday. But hopefully we'll be able to get to a bit more today. Since I don't have to stop partway through stream. But yeah, like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. And I guess let's just do the thing. Let's just do the thing. Let's just do the thing. Everything should be good to go. I do like this game. Hi, cow. We are getting to the point where we're like nearing the end, which is exciting. Because we've been working hard on it, right? Gotten a lot done. Whoa there, no one gets into our hog farm without a work slip. And if you want to work for us, you gotta fit the demographic. What demographic is that? Kinda don't ask so many stupid questions. Now you got a work slip or not? I do. Hand over the slip of paper and the hog squints at it with her picky little eyes. You don't look like you can lift a wheelbarrow, let alone last a good day's work. Nothing but skin and bones. Got the work slip, don't I? So let me in. Fine, fine. No bacon off my back if you find yourself face down in the mud after your old heart gives out. Is that what you're expecting? That's what you want, isn't it? Surprise, they're actually serving people. I don't know if that's true. Pig! Pig! Loves filth and doesn't care who knows it. It's a hog farmer worker, an exhausted peasant farmer. Poor buddies. Everyone's making those bad sounds. Also, this other pig is yelling at everyone. I don't like these noises. We've got a trough. The slop trough is overflowing with filth, like something is clogging the drainage hole. Thorough cleaning should dislodge the obstacle. Purification water. I have to like remember how to make anything or do anything. We need 3 things of water. I think we can do that. Do gotta go to a well, but I think there's one at the bottom of the market, right? It's not too far away. I should also probably, like, actually find out what we're supposed to do here before I go off and do a bunch of other stuff, but, you know. Just get ahead of the game. Yeah. I have a lot of games picked out for this evening. Well, I say a lot. Like 4? Maybe 5, depending on how quickly we get through some of them. I'm excited to do, an Indie Friday again, like, properly. Because the last number of ones we've done have been, like, have been fine, and have been exactly what we want to do, but we haven't been able to check out a ton of different games lately, so that's been sad. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, rip it and rip it. Yeah, got a few things to check out. And then also excited about the sandwich. I know I keep saying it, but I am actually kind of, like, stoked to try this. I'm sure it's gonna be great. I had considered picking up, like, different cereals and trying, like, a couple of different versions of, but then I realized I don't like cereal as, like, a thing on its own, and that would be a waste of cereal. I'm already trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with this whole box. I, like, almost picked up one of those, like, tiny little, you know, those little boxes of cereal that you would find at, like, a hotel, like a bed and breakfast, or not a bed and breakfast, but like a continental breakfast type situation. Thought about getting some of those, but they're all Kellogg's, and fuck Kellogg's right now. So that didn't happen, but that's okay. We got the water. Everything is great. The noise that soldier just made was horrible. He sounded like a frog. Please, sir. No, thank you. Ugh. I'm also hoping that maybe I can, like, actually get some rest this week. The dessert you make with carameled peanut butter. Okay, that sounds pretty dope. Well, now I regret not picking up other cereals. Had I known. You should still share that with me. I was gonna say, like, I don't mind cereal, like, in things, but on its own, not something that I tend to go after. Like, just cereal with, like, milk or something. Not for me. Let's use that purification water. Let's go. You flush out the disgusting container, eventually getting to the root of the drainage problem. Is that a tooth? That's odd. I doubt any of the pigs around here have had much dental work done. They're absolutely eating people, aren't they? Or they're turning villagers into pigs. The gaggle of workers appears to be squabbling over something. Hand it over, I saw it first. Fat chance, you've already got those good leg reps, while I'm still going barefoot. Give it here. See the object of their contention. A dirty old boot. Oh, sorry, I was looking at their picture and I thought his eyebrows were his eyes. And that scared me. Not pig. Not the peg. That must be my friend's forgotten piece of footwear. The workers ignore you and continue fighting over their pathetic prize. We need 2 more things of elf shoes and a growth potion. That's not the button I wanted. Growth potion. What do we need for that? Where is it? There it is. Little goes a long way to stir the mind and body. I need cow's milk. That means I need more jars. That's fine. And then we need to get elf shoes. We need the shiny lure, right? And we've got 2 of them, so we should have enough to get the amount of shoes that we need. We need some cow's milk, though. But there is a cow. Oh, hiccups. In the village. In the market, even. Because he's, like, right over here, isn't he? Yeah, there's the cow. There's that cow. We need paste. Give me the paste. And that's everything we need for the growth potion. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get those shoes. Come on, little elf. Thank you, buddy. One more thing of elf shoes. Come on. There's gotta be another elf around here. Please? Possibly. Maybe. Potentially there he is. Get it! Get it! Stop running away! Oh my god. Awful, terrible little creature. We've done it. Oh, I still need to search the... Sorry, I just looked at the... the goals, the objectives. We have to search the pig farm for the beggar's belongings. So I assume that's the tooth. So my theory of cannibalism and or turning pigs into, or people into pigs is not it. Alright, well that's fine. Can I give you your shoes? The workers ignore you and continue fighting over their pathetic prize. Give those elf shoes over. Put down the minuscule slippers. These won't be big enough for anybody. Which is why we use a growth potion to make them bigger. You pop the cork on the growth potion. You sprinkle a couple of carefully measured drops of the growth potion onto the tiny shoes. Make it sound like popcorn and burst into a size much more accommodating to human feet. Bickering workers look over at the source of the noise and their eyes go wide. Hey, look! Are those new shoes? Dropping the old boot in the mud, they rush over to try on the new footwear. Check it out! They got jingly bells on the toes! Beggar's old boot lies discarded in the muck. I'm gonna take it. Right! These are all the things that the beggar in the market has lost. I remember why we're here. It only took me a minute. Just over here collecting garbage for no reason. Alright, where else? This pig seems sick. Gassy pig, this bloated swine stinks even more than the others. I gotta get some digestive tablets. Let's go. I have enough for it. Perfect. You love to see it. Not the pickiest eater, the sick swine eagerly gobbles up the antacid you offer it. You hear a bubbling sound coming from the pig's stomach and decide it's best to avert your eyes from the horrors of the natural process. When you look back, the pig has fallen asleep in the mud, looking much happier with its state of being. You turn your attention to the aftermath and gawk at the obvious cause of the beast's indigestion. Large bone sticks out of the filth. You sort through the collection of objects you've accrued. A silver tooth, a human bone, and a chewed boot. Not sure what happened in this horrible place, but I've got a suspicion that old beggar may have lost more than just his memories here. Old beggar died, didn't he? Better go see him. He'll be missing his boot at the very least. Okay, never mind, I was right. He got it! Man got eaten! I like pigs, but hogs are fucking terrifying. Like, genuinely? Oh, you've returned. Did you have any luck finding my, what was it I lost again? Place the collector remains in front of the man. Nice camp. Oh no. Do any of these look familiar to you, Farley? What are you doing? Oh, that's my favorite boot. I was wondering where that got off to. But, what are these? The man runs his fingers over the bone and silver tooth with creeping realization crossing his face. Skin begins to take on an ephemeral pallor. Oh, look at him! Little cutie. Am I dead? Sorry, sir. But yes. Sorry, excuse me. I am so sniffly all of the time. It would certainly appear that way. Don't feel too bad. These sorts of things have a way of sneaking up on us. But I remember now. I was up at the hog farm, but I was too old, too weak to work. The sisters, they said I was useless. They threw me in the feed trough. And then, all those hungry pigs. Oh no, no. How could they do this to me? All my life I was starving. I had to beg for table scraps. And then they fed me to the pigs? I'm very sorry things ended this way. We ought to hold a feast to honor your life properly. A feast? I've never had a feast. Where would we get the food? And who would come? Everyone I know is slaving away for those horrible sows. The real victims were the ghosts we met along the way. Honestly, though. Her sweet babies. The banshee was pretty dope. This ghost is pretty cool. I appreciate the fact that the witch is just like, here, let's just throw you a nice party. It's gonna be okay, buddy. It's very precious. You cast a glance at the nearby communal cooking pit. I think I have a solution to both of those problems. Don't you worry, I'll make sure you have a meal to remember. Look at how cute he is, though! It's precious. Alright, cooking pit. Let's go. What do we got? This pit has seen its fair share of community cookouts. Though it isn't in the best shape, it will be enough for what you have in mind. Now then, what should be on the menu? We're gonna eat the pigs, aren't we? Clap your hands together hungrily. I think pork would be the most appropriate. First, I'll have to fashion the proper container. A feast need not be flesh and blood, but if the spirit is hungry. Porcine effigy. Oop. How do we make this? Tiny pig form suitable for children's play, among other things. We need 4 things of wicker work and 1 haunted mannequin. For the haunted mannequin, though, we need one of those spooky dolls and some ectoplasm. How do we make that, though? Sewing kits. We need... Alright, we have to go back 20,000 steps. We need to get some skeeter snoots. I'm gonna make like 4 of those. It is sad what happened to our little ghosty friend over here. But this is gonna be very good. Hear me out. This is gonna be great. I am stoked. This is where I wanted to go. Gotta go to the swamp. Gotta get some skeeter snoots. Snoot, 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 snoot. Gonna get the skeeter snoots. Come on, skeeters. Catch it. Catch it. Okay. We got some skeeter snoots. We don't need that many, honestly, but I think since we're here, we might as well just get more so that we never have to come back and get skeeter snoots ever again, you know? We'll just make it super easy on ourselves. Assuming we can find some more skeeters. Oh! Didn't have it equipped. I thought I did, but I'd scrolled past it. That's 3 skeeters. This is over by the lady house. The lady's house, isn't it? Yeah. With zombie husband, who loves wife. Is there another skeeter around here, or is it just this one? It's just this one. Boop. I don't think we need any frog goop. But again, since we're here, and they're not that hard to get, and we can also get some salt. Because I feel like we might need that. We should also probably get some thistles, because I know we're out of those. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm not here. Please and thank you. No concern. Only collect. Oh, 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 oh. Do we have Skeeter's back? We do not. That's okay. There is thistle. Yeah, I don't think we need, like, a ton of some of this, like, the stuff that we got earlier. Twigs are always a problem. There's a Skeeter. But I think we're, like, sitting pretty well on supplies right now. We could probably do with some more clay again, since I did just use a lot of it. But this is fine. Alright, let's make a sewing kit. Great. Dreadful doll. We need ectoplasm, and to do that, we need bat wings. And to do that, we need bait sticks, but we have some of those. We need to go get twigs. We are all out. Completely, entirely out of twigs. Let's start in the forest. And then if we run out there, we can go to the mountain, because the mountain had, like, not a ton, but not an insignificant amount either. Yeah. But we need a lot of wicker work. Hey, no thank you. But while we're here, we'll also get some more clay, I suppose. We're doing fine on the reedy twine. We just need them dang sticks. Please, game. I feel like some of the balance for items is a little off. Just based on, like, the things that we've needed, right? So I wish that could, like, get changed. Because we never have enough twigs. Even when we were picking them up, like, constantly, we still consistently, like, twigs have been something that we've needed. Skeeter snoots also, but, like, they're not terribly hard to get. There just aren't that many skeeters in the swamp. You have to make a couple of loops in order to get the amount that you need. But, like, we've never had, like, any shortage of, like, bug ichor or frog goop, but they give that to you a lot. I don't know if this is enough. And that didn't... Oh, that gave me a single branch. Great. I don't think we really need any more fireflies. But we're here. Alright. I don't know. It's still not... It's not bad. It's just noticeable. Twig. Twig. How many do we have? Enough for 5, which I think is all we need? Because we need... this. We have enough to make one of those. We also needed 4 for the effigy. So yeah, we have just enough wicker work now. That does kind of leave us without any twigs for the future, though. So maybe we will make a quick detour to the mountain, just to pick up some more. You know... can also grab some of the new stuff that we got here, because we'll probably need it. I want to talk to you, but I'm gonna wait, because I think you're probably, like, the next soul we have to get. If not you, you're... maybe not them specifically, but they're involved. Is what I'm getting at. Very poorly. Oh, no. I like that these logs do, like, pretty much guarantee I will get a twig every time I smash one. So that's nice. Oh. I guess we really haven't, like, explored around the mountain yet, have we? We just came here to get, like, the couple of items that we needed for the wolf. And aside from that, we just, like, didn't do anything. That's fine. We'll be able to explore in a bit. Right. It's not a ton of twigs, but it's better than having none. So let's go to the graveyard so we can get some bat wings. So then we can get some ectoplasm. Yeah. We need our bait sticks. Put one there. We'll put one there. Come down here and hang out, watch them do their thing. Great. Guess I didn't really need to get both of them. That's fine. Better a few too many. Better more than we need than not enough, honestly. Alright. There's our ectoplasm. Beautiful. You love to see it. Which means we can make the haunted mannequin now. Which means we can make that porcine effigy. Beautiful. You love to see it. We want to go to market. It's market time. Sweet little ghosty friend. We love him. Take that porcine effigy. You set the tiny false creature amongst the ashes of the cooking pit. It wriggles and squeals with impotent hunger. Now to fatten up this little piggy. I'll start with the smallest pig sister, but I'll need to collect something special to bind her spirit. Small pig switch. Only an item with a deep personal connection will do. Alright. Let's go steal some stuff from a pig. I also appreciate the fact that, like, all of the souls that we've collected so far have been from, like, creatures that have been, like, super shitty. You can hear the runty swine squealing even before you see her. Holding her crop high, she busies herself admonishing a cluster of poor workers. I had to feed your useless rumps to the meat grinder, you filthy mongrels. Do we pay you enough to work or to sleep? Or do we pay you to work or sleep, sorry. They recoil from their taskmaster's lashes. You don't pay us at all. Say there, you seem to have gotten an awful lot of use from that grotty old switch. What would you say to a trade? What? A trade? I've had this whipper ever since I was a wee suckling. No way, no how am I giving up my precious little flog. I need to make a Lashmaster 2000. Every pig has her price. What does the Lashmaster 2000 require? We need a pumpkin jack bone. I need a sewing kit. I am very glad that we got as many Skeeter Snoots as we did, because we need 2 of them simply for this Lashmaster. Hi, Sketchy. Thank you. Figured it was about time that I re-dye my hair. It's getting a little too blonde for my liking. But yeah, how's it going? How are you doing today? How are things? Gotta go back to the portal. Oh no. Excuse me. Sorry. Ugh. I'm still not sleeping well. I never sleep well. What am I saying? I don't know. My cats were on one again last night. I'm glad you're feeling better. It is not fun going through your day. Very tired. Don't do it. Don't do it. Field. That's where I'm trying to go. Where's the field? Goodness gracious. We need to go get a pumpkin jack. Where are they? But yeah, I'm glad your day's going a little better. I'm glad you're not nearly as tired. This is good. Twig. Okay, this is fine. We didn't get hit, and we've run away from the bad pumpkin. Their noises are so not lovely. It's fine. Where is the portal? It's over this way, isn't it? Yes, it is. Sometimes I can navigate a space. Is that what we needed? I guess it is. Alright. Great. We got the Lashmaster. Let's go. Time to go back to the farm. Gotta give that pig her better whip, I guess. Question is, are we gonna be able to reclaim it since we're gonna do a murder? Hey. Alright, give her that Lashmaster. Is that a Lashmaster 2000? With extra stinging barbs and a rawhide non-slip grip? The one and only. I thought you were doing such an excellent job keeping these poor exploited souls under your hoof that you deserved a reward. She snatches the whip out of your hands with glee, tossing her old straw lash in the mud without a second glance. Not even saying thank you, she scampers off to test out her newly acquired motivational tool on unsuspecting farm workers. With any luck, she won't have much time to put it to use. Take that. Let's go. And then we're gonna probably need to get the stick from that pig sister, and then probably get the butcher's knife from the eldest pig sister, right? Those are the items? Don't know if those are the items. There's our little pig effigy. Give it the switch. You feed the ratty straw whip into the mouth of the porcine effigy. Despite the thing not having any teeth, you distinctly hear the sound of crunching as it chews up its first meal. The effigy shudders and swells in size, becoming a healthy-sized piglet made of straw. One down, 2 to go. For this feast to go off without a hitch, I'll need to gather something important from that swinish middle sister. Not a twig mountain. There's never enough twigs. There will never, ever be enough twigs. I'll say, hey, Fruity. Tall Pigs Club! You know what? If we don't put the club in here, could make quite a few twigs out of it. Maybe like 2. Maybe like 2 whole twigs. And that would be 2 whole more twigs than we already have. Let's go. Hey you, you're the one who gave my little sister that souped up whipper, ain't ya? Well, I do twice as much work as that stinking twerp. This old beaten stick has served me well these long years, but if she gets an upgrade, then why shouldn't I? Sibling rivalry will be the death of them. Magnum Browbeater! Holy butts. What do I need for this? Barnacles, Wicked Gemstone, and a big stick. I mean, please. We gotta go to the graveyard, and we gotta go get some more twigs. And we also need more barnacles and more dog hair. Oh my god. Okay. Always twigs. Always. Always. Honestly, the boss fight being twigs would not shock me at all. I would just accept it. That would make sense, and I hate that. Okay, I've already forgotten everything that I need. Dog hair. We need water to make the soporific morsel. Okay. That's fine. We can do that. Let's go... We have to go to the forest anyway. So let's go to the forest so we can get some twigs, but then we can also get some water from the well there. Once we do that... Twig. We can also... We can go visit the potter, because he has a dog, and also a bunch of spots in which we can potentially get coals. I don't need any more of these gosh dang mushrooms. I need twigs, game! Always twigs! Oh my gosh. Alright. Twigs, please? Twigs now. They're my twigs, and I want them now. Please, 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 please. Alright. Thank you, game, for giving me twigs. I would like some more. Please, game, can I have some more? Let's get that water. Let's also get some clay. I think we're fine on clay at the moment, but still much rather, like, try and, like, get some so we don't ever run out, you know? We still need dog hair. Just grab it. Right? Like, let me just chop down a tree. There should be a way for me to... Look, I know we're setting dryads on fire, right? But there should be a way for me to chop down that dryad and get a handful of sticks from him. Come on. Please. Fruity. Please. Please. I would spend twigs to reinforce my hatchet so I could take down an entire dryad, alright? Don't think I won't. I'll do it. Also, dog. We got the dog hair. Perfect. We have enough cinders to make the thing that we need. Cool. Three-legged gemstone now. Perfect. You love to see it. We need more bones, but we can get that in the graveyard fairly easily. And we need more barnacles, which we have to get at the docks. But we have enough twigs now? We have enough twigs now. For now. Look, 2 more. 2 more twigs. We are not as twig poor anymore. Still very twig poor, but not as twig poor. You know how it goes. You'll never have enough twigs, no matter what you do. Yeah, let's go to the dock first, because it's easiest to just... Or that's like, we only have the one thing to get from here. And I don't want to have to, like, wander here too much. Barnacles! Barnacles! Is that all we need? That is as many barnacles as we need, but we might as well try and get just a couple more so that we don't have 0 barnacles. This is fine. No, where are you going? Goober! More barnacle rocks? Somewhere? Anywhere? Game? Maybe? Game? Perhaps? Game says no barnacles for me. Never mind. Here we go. Please grab the barnacles. Thank you. Alright. Wait. Okay. That's better than no barnacles. Seems to be the general state of things of, well, it's better than not having any. Where's the portal? Sir, excuse me. To the graveyard! Oof. Go ahead and grab that. We'll go ahead and get these. How many twigs do I need? 5, and I have 16. What if I use 4 of them to make sticks so that we get all the bat wings? We'll just... I don't think we have, like, any bat wings right now. I'm just trying to make it so that we don't have to run around too much anymore. Okay. Now to find some more bones. But that's nice too, because while we're looking for bones, we get some clay. We love clay around here. Come on. Do the thing. Hey, Greaves, if you could give me some more bones, that would be cool. Got a lot of mandrakes. Got a lot of clay. Don't have as many bones as I would like. Consider game. There's a bone. Please. Please. That should be enough. Yeah. Alright. So we've got that. Now we got the Magnum Browbeater. Time to go give it to that sister. Let's go! market. To the market. Woof. But after this, after we finish the pigs off, we'll only have 2 more souls that we have to collect. And that's exciting. The sow takes a few test swings with her new cudgel, making you duck for safety. Aha! Now that's more like it. Solid build, perfect balance. Won't be needing that cracked old stick anymore. I'll just take it off your hands. Huh? Sure, whatever. It's as good as firewood now. She ignores you and goes looking for pine cones or small animals to take a swing at. Luckily, she's slow and her eyes are bad. Took it! Alright, now it's just the older sister we gotta deal with. And then, we'll have ourselves a cookout. 1 down, 2 to go for this feast. To go off without a hitch. Yeah, we've already read that. Here we go. Chop up the well-weathered cudgel into bite-sized pieces and offer them to the small effigy. You waste no time gobbling up the bits of wood and crunching them to splinters. Satisfied with its second meal of sticks, the simulated pig rumbles and once again grows in size. His ham is almost ready for dinner. It just needs 1 more helping of soul food. Something special from that brutish butcher will be the last ingredient I need. Big pig's whetstone. Symbol of sympathetic magic. Look at our little piggy, though. Alright. What does the sister want? Ma'am? You see the enormous swine hacking apart a haunch of meat with her cleaver. Its dull and chipped blade has clearly seen better days. She sneezes heavily before wiping a glob of snot with the back of her hand. You again? What do you want now? As your dutiful employee, I've been taking it upon myself to improve your meat business. That whetstone of yours looks like it's not doing a great job of keeping your tools sharp. She raises her eyebrow at the worn slab of grindstone sitting on the countertop. Suppose it might be time to replace the old girl. Just think of how much more brutal you could be with a brand new sharpener. Magisharp extra large. She doesn't know the half of it. Okay, how do we make the thing? We need a lucky strop. Finely made sharpening strip for honing blades. What is this? I need a rabbit's foot. We got goblin snot. And we need a gnome hat. To get a gnome, we need 1 of these. We need some more nails, but we have enough to do that. Great. We need a turkey gizzard stone. And that's it. For the end result. Okay, so rabbit foot. Turkey gizzard stone. I think I need to make snap traps. For the... No, never mind. Is it... What do I use against rabbits? We're gonna have to go find out, I suppose. Is it this? I don't know. I don't know what we need. It's fine. Let's go get some nails. Don't say that. Please. Please. They must. Bad rabbits. You don't appreciate them. Also, I want this goose egg. I want to know how to take care of this stupid goose. Bad rabbits. Do those chests refill? Or did I just miss that one? Give me the nails. Are there nails in here as well? That would be cool. No. Alright. Rabbits must have a weakness. I already have a single foot in my inventory. They must! They have to. More nails. Yeah, come over here. steal. Stop! What did you take from me? You took one of my soot sprites. Don't really need him. But it's the principle of the thing. Can't let him just run off with my soot sprite. I have enough nails to make the thing that we need to make, right? But I think I need nails if it's the snow snares that we need for the rabbits, then I definitely need more nails. So that's a bit of a problem. Get away from me, Mimic! I know we've occasionally gotten nails from the cobblestones. It's fine. It's fine, I guess. Let's go ahead and go to the fields so we can get that gnome hat, right? And then we don't have to worry about the dumb gnomes anymore. Can also maybe grab some twigs while we're here, since supposedly twigs occur here as well. I need more digestive tablets for that gizzard stone, though, while I'm thinking about it. We got enough stuff to make it, and that's great. Oh my god, sorry, I'm so... My nose is so runny. I need it to stop. Never not sniffly. Hey, look! A turkey! Give me your gizzard stone! Thank you! Twig! There's a twig up here, too. Go get the twig. Get the twig! Run away! Get the twig and then run away! Please! Here, do you want this? Thank you for the hat! There aren't really any twigs here, and that's a little heartbreaking. I guess we can go north to the forest. So we can do a twig run again. Always need twigs. Never not needing twigs. Forever looking for twigs. Okay, I don't think I need these. I think we're fine on flower petals. I just need twigs. I just need twigs. Pretty sure twigs aren't real at this point. They just don't exist ever. Well, we got some. Let's go to the forest? The mountain, I mean? We were just at the forest? How many twigs do we have? 13? It's not too bad. We can get some over here as well, so... Where is there a rabbit? Hey, rabbit! There it is. Snap trap. Alright, that's what I thought. We need some wicker work. 1, 2, pick up 6, 3, 4, pick up 6, 5, 6, pick up sticks. That is absolutely how that old rhyme goes. You are 100% correct. Anyone says otherwise, they're wrong. Get it, bunny. Alright. Just forever collecting sticks, honestly. We need one more rabbit's foot. Oh, rabbit. I don't want to have to be looking for you for forever. Here you go, rabbits. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's enough for the lucky strop. That also means we have enough for the Magic Sharp extra large. Shall we go do a murder on some piggy sisters? Stick. I genuinely get excited when I find a stick. This is... goodness gracious. Thanks. You always have too many sticks in Animal Crossing. Never enough sticks in this game. Do you think between the two of them they could balance themselves out? I know that the trapper's over there and that we're not ready to go see the trapper. I get that. But also, game, consider there might be sticks over there. What if there are sticks? What if the game is hiding sticks from me over there? What am I doing? We're going to the market to give the oldest pig sister her new whetstone. I know what's happening. I am absolutely on top of everything. Aware of all the things that are going on. Know exactly what the next step in our objective is. There you go. The sow slowly grinds the blade of her cleaver across the new whetstone, sending flecks of rust flying. She plucks a hair from her own chin and tests the keenness of the edge by splitting it in half. Oh, not bad at all. Go on, take this old stone and throw it in the trash bin. Is this just an old brick? No wonder it didn't sharpen anything. Ma'am, please don't sharpen your blades on a brick. Please. Please. Don't do that. Where's our friend? There he is. Hey, ghosty buddy. Sam is almost ready for dinner. Let's go. You toss the old brick into the effigy's ravenous maw and it cracks it to dust within moments. With its final meal of bricks, the porcine simulacrum swells to monstrous proportions. A rattling laugh chills your blood as the old man's spirit looks upon your work. What a proper beggar's feast this is! I thank you for the kind gesture, but I still don't see how this will bring justice to those wretched swine. Just you wait. I have to fire up the barbecue first. I need a cinder box. Great. Are we ready? Striking a spark into the pit, you set the tinder alight. You take a step back, watching the orange flames leap high into the air. The porcine effigy blackens as you tend the fire and fuss over the coals. Succulent aroma begins to waft on the wind. The old man licks his translucent lips hungrily. I swear, I can almost smell a delicious roast. Ah, if only it were real. Over the sound of crackling logs, you hear a crowd of footsteps come padding down the road toward the cooking pit. Over here! I knew I smelled something good! It's the others! My friends! You've come back! Ah! A ghost! No, wait! Is that old man McGraw? Say it ain't so, old-timer. When you never showed up for the morning head count, we all feared the worst. It's true. I ended up as pig food. Can you believe that? I worried you would all face the same fate as me. However, did you escape the hog farm? It was the strangest thing. The swine sister started complaining about the weather being too hot, even though it's pretty chilly if you ask me. All of a sudden they bolted out into the woods, squealing all the way, left the gate wide open and everything. Then we smelled something delightful in the breeze and couldn't resist. It's been so long since we've had anything other than pig slop. Gosh, that smells so good. Is it barbecue? Where did you get all that food? Holy shit. In place of the bricks, sticks, and straw, the porcine effigy has split into a mountain of delectable sizzling meats. Ham, sausage, bacon! It all looks so delicious. What a wonder. It truly is a feast. Thank you. What did I tell you? Enjoy yourself for a little while longer and be at peace. The starving crowd happily helps themselves to the feast, cheering, laughing, and praising the old ghost's name. You see something twinkle amongst the cooling coals of the cooking pit.
Mayor Amy is raiding with a party of 18. Kayshurrr and the gang welcome you.
Hi, Emmy. Hi, Raiders. Welcome in, friends. How's everyone doing? Get a shout out going. Maybe, assuming I can. Hey. Hey. I'm hitting all sorts of buttons. Thank you, Allie. Howdy, y'all. How is it going? Welcome in. How are we doing? You all know who I am. I'm not gonna introduce myself, but hi, we're playing Wytchwood. Hi, friends. Emmy, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna tell you. This Fruity Spruce character seems super suspicious. I'm not gonna. Aw, that's cute. I'm glad it was fun, though. Nice. Test streams are always important and good. But yeah, welcome in, everyone. Yeah, hi. I guess I'll do a quick introduction. My name is Kayshurrr. You can call me Kaysh. I am a horror and mystery game streamer. I play lots of spooky stuff here. It's an afternoon stream, which usually means it's our more chill games. We're playing one called Wytchwood right now. It's lovely and pretty and gorgeous. And yeah, we offer content warnings for every single game that we play because it's important just to know what kind of content you're getting into. So if you ever need that, !CW. Why is it, hold on, why is it doing it that way?
And that's a raw fact.
It's true. Hold on a second, sorry. It's set to a second line, so it comes up as, like, 2 messages? That should be better. Anyway, we've got the content warnings if you ever need them. Otherwise, we also, if you're interested in checking the game out that we are currently playing, !game link will pull that up. Yeah, this game is very chill, very mellow. It's pretty safe, all things considered, but like I said, we offer content warnings for every single game. Because it's important to know what kind of stuff you're watching. That's about all I got. Emmy and Raiders, you've been streaming for a little while. If you need to get up, do a stretch, get some food, get some water, take care of stuff in your area, go for it. I'll be here for another 50-ish minutes or so. If you want to hang out. Otherwise, that's what I got. Go get food, Emmy. Take care of yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to playing and reading. But thank you again, Emmy, for the raid. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks, friend. We've just done a pig murder, and everything is great. You see something twinkle amongst the cooling coals of the cooking pit. Is it? Everyone is humming in my ear, and I hate it. Warm to the touch, you pick out a piece of greasy gristle from the soot. On closer inspection, it appears to be 3 separate chunks. 1 fat piece, 1 long piece, and 1 small piece. Yeah, yes they are. They have been for the last number of days, actually. I figured, again, I'm trying to make everything on my channel as accessible as possible, and I figured that the dyslexia font would be the best option for our captions. That's what I'm here for. Again, anything and everything I can do to try to make the channel as accessible as possible is a thing I want to do. But also, reminder, accessibility shouldn't be an afterthought. it should be the default, which is why I'm trying to do as much of it as I possibly can. Which also brings up, if people know of something that I can do to make the channel more accessible, please, 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 please let me know. But yeah, it's got the dyslexia font. It's great. They're not always super spot on, the captions, but they're much better than the last caption program that I used, and I just appreciate the fact that they're always on the screen, so everyone can see them, and people don't have to use weird extensions or anything like that. It's just there. Yeah, I like it. It's for anyone who wants to use the program that I use. It is I do have to use it through a browser, but it's Pixel Chat. Pixel Chat's very good. Would recommend. Very easy to use as well. Alright. The souls of the pigs! Let's go. We did the hogs. Hogs are done. I'll send the link to you later, Emmy, if you would like. Is good program. With it being on screen and stuff, I want to, like, at some point make borders for both the game and the captions themselves. I don't know how I would do a border for the captions since they change size pretty regularly. I'll figure it out though. It's fine. But yeah. Slowly but surely working on changing everything because I want to. It's just time consuming and energy. So much energy. Where is the portal? Where did it go? There it is. There we go. That's fair. Go take a nap, Sarah. Take care of yourself. Sleep well. Thank you for the lurk. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. Yeah, like a frame and stuff. Maybe. I'll think on it. I honestly, at this point, it's mostly just being like, the game frame I know wouldn't take much time or effort. I just want to, like, I was thinking about doing like a tentacle frame since that's what I've got for like chat and my webcam. But I would have to redraw it just because of the way that mine is currently, just because of how the image is currently set up. And that just sounds like a lot of effort that I don't want to bother with at the moment. So this is fine. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but, you know, fuck it. We're going to the mountains. I want to talk to that deer. Or do we want to talk to the hawk in the fields? Let's go talk to the hawk in the fields, actually. I've changed my mind. We have 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and start the hawk. And then maybe we'll actually have this finished on Monday? That's gonna be weird. Oh well. It's fine. It's exciting. Yeah. There's a twig over there and I want it! Grab and run! Grab and run! You goober! There was another twig. I will risk life and limb for these freaking twigs. Honestly. It's all fine. It's all fine. You. Do you have anything to say? Oh there, ma'am. Hope you don't have business that way. Mill's in a spot of trouble. The mill, you say? Aye, so I do. I was just about to drop off my wheat to the nice couple that works there, but when I heard the ruckus, I thought it best to wait here. What ruckus? Are they beset by bandits? Worse, a businessman. The hawk is the land baron that owns most of the property around these parts. Saw him banging on the mill's door with a greedy look in his eyes. Trust me, it's best to lay low until the storm blows over unless you want to end up penniless. Welcome in, single malt teapot? Single malt. your Vic or teapot. He, they, welcome in. Happy to see you here. We like board games. We like nerdy things here. Welcome in. Thanks for saying hi. Right? Capitalism, boo. It's okay. We're gonna go do a murder on the hawk, and it's gonna be fine and fantastic and beautiful. I have little use for coin, therefore nothing to lose. Perhaps I ought to see what the fuss is about. Shall we go? Let's go. Let's go. Look at how regal he is, though. By decree of the local bylaw, you must come out. Any who interfere with eviction of this property will face full legal consequences for obstruction of justice. As the stately tycoon hammers on the mill door, a pair of shaking voices call out from the nearby window. Oh, 100%. Look, we're all about eating the rich here. Let's fucking go. Please, Master Hawk, we just need a little more time. You've had ample opportunity to renegotiate our contract at the Civic Hall. This is no time for excuses. Now open this door at once. More miserable contracts. Drop the pretenses, Hawk. You're nothing more than a crook in fancy clothes. Excuse me, but this business does not concern you, madam. Take your snide remarks and be off. I'll determine what business earns my concern. Thank you very much. I'd like to hear the other side of the story for myself. Well, if they insist on remaining locked inside, then I shall depart. But if I do not receive my payment at the bank soon, even a locked door won't stand in my way. Hawk steps smartly around you and off down the road back to the village, leaving a trail of dust in his wake. These poor millers are still too shaken up to come out. I'll have to get in around the back somehow. Can we give them deserts? The rich deserve to be abandoned in a desert. Facts, though. Facts, though. Look. When we say we're going to give them their just desserts, what we mean is we are going to turn them into desserts. And it's going to be great. What was this? Hatchet might break this apart. Okay. A hidden door. Let's just do a cabbage murder. Right? Sometimes a little B&E is necessary to offer the support that the people deserve. Right? Right? It's okay, I'm here to help. How did you get in here? Did the hawk send you? We don't have anything left to give, we swear. Relax, I'm no thug. It seems like you two are caught between a rock and a bureaucrat. Just how did you get into such a pickle? What's to tell? The hawk is our landlord and we work this mill for him. We've always been on time with our payments. Never missed them once. I'm just trying to help you. Hacking away at the door. Oh no. But that greedy tyrant has been steadily hiking up the cost. We've barely been able to feed ourselves and pay our dues, but we always manage to scrape by. Then this last month, he raised the rent again. And what's worse, someone broke in during the night and cracked our millstone. It was 100% the hawk. He did it. If we can't grind flour, we'll never be able to get the money. And now he says if we can't pay, he'll evict us. Awfully suspicious that your millstone was damaged right as the rent increased. Almost like he wants to get rid of you. We've explained the situation to him, but the man only has eyes for gold. Not a kernel of kindness resides in his heart. Well, let me take a look at that grinder of yours. A broken mill isn't much good to anyone, regardless of who owns it. Really? You'd do that for us? If the millstone was repaired, we might just be able to make enough flour before the deadline. I'll help y'all. See, it was fine. It just goes to show, sometimes you have to break into people's houses. Please don't break into people's houses. Don't actually do that, y'all. Consider not doing that. You inspect the granite millstone and run your fingers along the wide crack that has rendered the device dysfunctional. Just as I thought. This appears to have been done on purpose. Hawkbeak flour. Well, I hope we grind this boy up. Or roast them like we did the pigs. That'd be fun. The heavy stone could be coaxed back together, but it will require strong bonding magic. Restorative idol, snag vine, cobblestones. Okay. Restorative. Feel like I'm missing something. What did the hawks do to you, Emmy? Restorative idol. Which I don't have enough of anything for. Let's go ahead and just make a few of those, right? Necromantic charm. I need more pumpkin jack bones. Okay, well, we got the wicker work. And snag vine. To get that, what else do we need? We need a second, no. Yeah, we need a second snag vine. So that we can... Oh, that's my last skeeter snoop. Fuck! Oh, right. Okay. Not me missing the Hatsuful boyfriend reference. Consider getting better at loving your pigeon friends. Alright, we have snag vines. Pumpkin jackbone. Pumpkin jackbone. Okay, that didn't work out. They need proof. They need proof that your pigeon boyfriend is a thing. What was it? What was I doing? Restorative idol. Necromantic charm. Nothing. Exactly. Pixar didn't happen. I'm sorry. Those are the rules when it comes to the hawk ninjas. Does that mean, are you implying that Canada doesn't have the means of taking pictures? My goodness. Alright. So then what I'm hearing is that Dougie and Cyril have been lying to us all along. They're not actually Canadians. Let's give that restorative idol over. You place the idol atop the old millstone. Give that snag vine.
And that's a raw fact.
Oh no. The vines wind their way neatly into the crack of the millstone, beginning to seal it anew. Yeah, alright. Y'all are goofy. Heavy stone could be put- oh wait, I've already read that. Get those cobblestones in there. Cobblestones clunk down on the face of the millstone. An ominous creaking sound fills the mill as the grindstone begins to shift and warp. Then, with a bang like thunder, the crack on the stone snaps closed. The couple marvel at the millstone, running their hands over the smooth surface. Hey, it's been fixed! It's been fixed! The stone should be more durable than ever. I dare say it might even hold up to any future attempts of sabotage. Oh my, what a wonder! If it's all the same to you, we need to get our grain processed right away. The hawk has no patience when it comes to money. He'll already be back at the bank putting through the paperwork. I ought to talk to some sense in that penny-pinching buzzard. If I go now, I'm sure I'll intercept him at his office. Time to go fuck up a hawk! Not the goose! Not the goose! This is horrible. This is terrible news. Emmy, your goose has gotten got. Alright, portal. To go to the village? I think? There's the portal. I always get lost in the field. I hate it here. Village. The village. It's village time. Yeah, let's go ruin the Hawk's day. I'm all about disrupting the rich. Causing them issues. Who are you? Oh, you're just a villager. Okay. He's just so fancy looking. Bank entrance. Hawk. Hawk? Hawk. 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 Hawk! You conniving knave. I know you sabotaged those poor Miller's grindstone. So what if I did? Property value has gone up and they can't afford the rent. It's up to me to find someone else who can. People like you will never be satisfied. You'll always want more and more. Tell me, Master Hawk, what in this world would sate your hunger for gold? Simple. The Rumpling would. The whatling? The Rumpling, a precious fey alchemist. They say he's in possession of an alchemist stone that can turn whatever it touches into gold. If the legends are to be believed, the one to catch the Rumpling would be paid his weight in gold. Then why not put your mind to catching the Rumpling instead of harassing your poor tenants? Oh, believe me, I've tried, but he's a crafty fellow. I've only ever gotten my hands on a single clue. And I've got that locked up tight in my vault. It's the Rumpling. He's fucking stacked in the back. Seems like you're robbing the world of an opportunity. Just because you can't find this Rumpling fellow, no one else can. You eye the nearby bank vault suspiciously. Single guard looks simple enough to bypass. Surprise, the Rumpling doesn't actually have any alchemy to turn things to gold. He just knows how to throw that ass back. Oh, that's far enough. No one gets in there on my watch. Glamour? What is this? Oh no. Totemic Moondrop. What do I get that from? What is this? More wait, I don't need ectoplasm. I do need witch spice. And a smoke pellet. For the foggy perfume. And then the Totemic Moondrop, which I don't remember. It's a snag. It's a snag vine, isn't it? I need a snag vine for the totems. What do I need for that? What do I need for that? Fuck. Okay, this is fine. We'll get some more Skeeter Snoots. We'll get some Skeeter Snoots. Always need Skeeter Snoots. Never not needing Skeeter Snoots. It's not true. We don't always need Skeeter Snoots. Take the passage down. We'll go to the swamp. It's gonna be great. Wouldn't even worry about it. It's mostly twigs, it's true. It is mostly twigs. It is a snag vine that I need, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah! Come here! Come here! Great. We got some snoots. What am I doing? Sewing kit. So that I can make a snag vine. So that we can do this, alright? And then we just... There it is. Okay, I was gonna be very upset if it didn't drop the the tier or whatever. We did get a couple of twigs, though. That was nice. I appreciate that. Is that everything that we need for this? Yeah. Yeah! Back to the bank. Let's go. Look at us zooming! We're just gonna do all the things, kill all of the bad folk. It's gonna be great. Do I go this way? Is this the fastest way to the bank? I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get ready to use that glamour potion. There is a person inside this building, but not inside the building. Sure, it's fine. Get out of here, bud. While the guard is busy picking his fingernails, you quaff the fruity tasting elixir. Its masking effects tickle the tips of your toes with a tingling sensation. While you don't feel any different on the inside, you know your outward appearance has changed when the guard glances up at you. Oh, hey, Leonard. Is it time for my shift change already? Yes, I'm here to relieve you. You better go and get some shut-eye while you still can. You don't gotta tell me twice, I feel like I've been on my feet all day. Don't worry, I'll keep this vault nice and secure. You can count on me. Yeah, sure. Just keep your back straight. Hawk's in a foul mood. Foul. Hawk's in a foul mood today for some reason. Guard stretches his shoulder and walks away, leaving you all alone with the bank vault. You fool! You find the Hawk's treasure map framed with pride. It's little more than a tattered corner of a larger hole. No wonder the Hawk didn't get very far. This is barely a scrap. Squinting at the half-torn line work, you can make out the cartographer's description of giant dragon bones, with a red X marking the spot. Hi, Defo. The carcass looks awfully familiar. Wonder if it's the same as that one rotting out in the swamp. Guess the Hawk never had much reason to go searching there. Not many real estate investment opportunities. I can't access this chest, and that makes me sad. Alright. To the swamp. I keep checking the time because I feel like I've gone on longer than I normally do. We're doing real well, actually. Actually? Also, reminder, since there's more people here now. Today, 6 p.m. Central, we're gonna be doing our community challenge. I'm gonna be making that center sandwich. It's gonna be great. I'm excited about it. Actually and genuinely. Right? We're gonna Robin Hood this situation. Steal some gold, give it back to the poor, make sure that they can take care of themselves. You share the wealth. And all that good stuff. I'm here for it. What am I doing? What was I doing? Swamp. It says so up here, but I keep forgetting that it's up there. But also, right? Just throwing your gold into, giant piles doesn't seem like an ideal means of keeping track of your stuff. Whoop, whoop. Inventory. Again, might as well get the skeet. Oh, but I need this, don't I? No, I don't. No, I don't. We've already used the smoke bomb for what we needed it for. I know what's happening. At all times. Thank you for the lurk, Gammy. Alright, what do we got? We will be here. That's towards the Darkwood. Where? I know the skeleton that she's talking about. I know of the dragon bones. Single malt, Vic, or teapot. Need to remember. Vic, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the octopod. I'm not sold on that at all. I'm sorry. Oh, I hated that. But yeah, welcome to the gang. Where the heck is this dragon skeleton? Where hit it? Please? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure, I want to make sure that you're okay with whatever I call you. That is important to me. But yeah, no, we're happy to have you here. Welcome in. Glad you're enjoying it enough to stick around. Where I say as I continue to get lost. Dragon! X marks the spot. I'll have to get rid of these old bones. How? Acidic. Oh, we gotta get that potion. That acid potion. I need some weird water and the potion of blight. I need more thistles. There is weird water in the graveyard that we can get. But I also need thistles. Please? Is this... This is where the portal is, right? No. Portal is north of here. But we're very close to where the portal is. So that's good. Was there not thistle over here? No, there is. But there's also a totem that will punch me. Ouch! Please! Okay, this is fine. Everything is fine. Which takes a while to pick stuff up sometimes. Which is a little problematic. What was I trying to get? Weird water. Graveyard. I am going to need another jar, though. Let's go ahead and put that here. Let's put that here. I don't need any of these things. We have to go to the mansion because there's a well that gives us weird water there. This is me verbalizing what I'm doing so I don't forget, even though I will forget. Mansion, weird water. Also, I wanted to check if I could... I can't check that one. I wanted to see if some of these chests refilled over time. Because I don't think they do. I think I might have just missed the one that we found earlier. We got some weird water. Great. Let's get that potion of blight. Let's also get our acidic unguent. Great. Now we can head back to the swamp and dissolve the bones, which are up where the Drake is. I think I can get weird water from there as well. I don't think I have to go to the mansion, but I did anyway. It's fine. Oh no. It's all fine. Swamp. It's swamp time. Okay. Should get the thistle. Since we're here. Ooh, more thistle. Consider. More thistle. This is not where I wanted to be. I want to go north, but not this north. I want to go the north that is eastward. That makes sense, right? It's over here, right? Yeah. Yeah! Get out of here, Bones! The beast's rock-like remains dissolve into a disgusting white goo, leaving behind a conspicuous hidey hole. Reach your hand into the hole and pull out a single copper coin encrusted with grime. let's take it. After scraping away the muck on the coin, you can barely make out a motto etched into the metal surface. To summon the alchemist to thee, at the Fey Ring, you must pay the required fee. Fey Ring? I wonder if it's referring to that overgrown mushroom patch in the forest. Probs. Consider. Don't mind me, Drake. I'm just picking stuff up. It's fine. It's fine here. Great. Okay. Forest. Which is great, because then we can maybe pick up some more twigs. Since we are always hurting for twigs. There's blood there. Let me just pick this up. Let me just nab this blood that's been sitting on the swamp floor for who knows how long. It's fine, I'm sure. Totally normal and good. Oh no. Twig! Beautiful. More twigs. You love to see it! More twigs! Map. I just want to make sure that I'm going to the right location. Is that... Okay. Yeah. There's a couple of places where we can collect fairies, and so I wanted to make sure that we were going to the proper one. That is not where I need to go. Hold on a second. What are you doing over there? Hey. Mama. Being a weirdo. Cat's being a weirdo. Imagine that. Mommy is being a goofy cat. She was being such a butthole last night. Oh my goodness. Floral Reef. I think we have... Please. Then we need this. But to do that, I need a glitter bomb, which I need a jar for. That's my last cinder. That's unfortunate. And then also... pastry dough. Fuck. Okay, we need 2 more... I need 2 more jars so we can get some cow's milk, and we need more grain, which we get from the field. This is a terrible floral wreath, and I hate it. In case anyone was wondering. Please have cinders. Great. Good. That's enough to make the rest of the jars that I need. Fortunately, I can get everything that I need in the field. So that's lovely. And look at this. We're finding all these twigs now? Life is good. Switching moves very, very quickly over here. It's fine. Grain. Grain. That should be more than enough. But again, since we're here, let's go ahead and grab some more. We need milk. She needs some milk. Cow? Not a cow, but I will steal your eggs. Give. Egg. Thank you. Cow is over here, right? There's cow. Now we can make our dough! Perfect. And we can make that rainbow roll! Which should be everything that we need. Annie! Thank you for the gift, sub friendo. It's very sweet of you. Thank you, Emmy. You spoil me too much. Listen, listen, Emmy, listen. Nah, it's appreciated. Thank you, bud. Which is too much, but you know what? You do you. I won't complain. I have learned to not complain about it. So there. But also, welcome back. Sorry, I'm like very into this right now. Also a little tired. I keep saying that. I'm always tired. But yeah, Lamia was being like a total butthole last night. Look at the deer! Hi, precious baby. I like your antlers. No, come back! What's this? That worthless coin said this would summon the rumpling, not some flowery deer. Take a closer look at the discarded floral branch. Antler? Branchler. One of the growing buds looks larger than the rest, and it twitches when you poke it. Oh, hello there. Looks like this sprout needs some fresh fairy water. There's no water at this fairy circle, but surely there are others about. I better go plant this thirsty fellow and see what happens. I mean, more so than normal. She kept just yelling at me all night because I wasn't paying attention to her, even though I was trying to, like, sleep. And then she was just getting all pissed off at all the other cats, even Farley, for simply existing. Like, Devo was laying at the foot of the bed, and she was up on, like, one of the pillows by my head, and was just like, eh! Like, please, Lamia, stop. Also, fairy water sounds mischievous. That's because it is, and we don't want it. Fun fact about me, that I think at this point most of you know. I don't trust the Fae, as well as you also should not trust them. Because they're terrible, and monstrous, and horrible, and just little shitheads. Fairies are the worst. There's no water here. I think it's in... You're wrong, Fruity. But you always trust the wrong people. Always. Not always, but often. Known fact about Fruity. Not Fae Pith. Not... Sorry, I just saw TK's comment. Oh god. Not the Fae Pith. Please. I don't want to put this poor flower in the Fae Pith. Where the fuck is it? I know it's here. I have seen it before. I am lost. Is it not here? It may not actually be here. Oh no. I didn't think it was in the fields though. Is it? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out. I remember seeing like a fairy circle that had water all around it. It's not in the swamp. Lakeshore Path, maybe? Oh no. Look, we're not here to shame what anyone's into, but I do not consent to being involved in this situation. Flower, you gotta find someone else to help you with this. It is not me. Alright, what do we got? More twigs. I am not the one that this fairy flower needs assistance from. I mean, this is the deer, right? But there's no... Oh, that's the stag. We're gonna have to fuck up his statue when we go to take care of him? Where? Visit the fairy lake in the fields. Okay, it is in the fields. It says so up in the top right corner. I'm an idiot. Let me just not look at where my objectives are telling me to go. This is fine. Oh my god. Consistent issue that I have been having is not looking up here. It's fine. We figured it out. Took us a minute, but we got there. That's the old mill. Hold on, sorry, I need to sit up. But also, it's getting to be time for us to end. Maybe we'll take care of this piss flower, and then we'll call it there. There it is. This is yep. No, get away from me. Gib. Okay. Right, absolutely. Well, and it's like, the first couple of times that happened in this game, I was willing to be like, oh, it's fine. Like, you know, I'm just overthinking everything. But it's like, they have always been very kind and very good about, like, telling me where I need to go in the top right objectives, and it just goes right over my head. It's fine. This looks like just the place. Strange flora requires strange environs. Branch antler. Stick the budding branchler into the fertile soil of the fairy circle. The suspicious flower bud wiggles with glee, drinking up the magical pond water. I was legit about to say piss water. It is what it is. After a few minutes, nothing else happens. Come on. I don't have time to watch flowers grow. Maybe I can speed things up along a bit. A little pick-me-up should be all that's needed here. Need that growth potion. Don't have any of the things that I need for this growth potion. Okay, that's fine. I think we'll probably just call it here, right? Because we've got 5 minutes until the end of stream, and I'm not going to be able to get all this stuff done in that amount of time, and I would much rather just take all of it at once while we are playing on Monday, as opposed to waiting all weekend while I'm partially through some of the tasks. So, we're gonna end here. Thank you, Emmy, for being here. And thank you for the raid. But thank you, everyone, for being here. I super appreciate it. It's always wonderful to see everyone in chat. I like our afternoon streams. They are a lot more mellow than our evening stuff. And it kind of just means that, like, it is a bit more of an easier time for us to all just, like, hang out and chat. And I love that. Y'all want to go hang out with Mimi of the Moon? She's doing some Stardew Valley. We love Mimi, and I don't think we've rated her for a while. But also, always willing to take suggestions. Hi, bye, Bunno! Here just in time for us to leave. It's nice seeing you, though. Hi! But, sorry, hold on. So sniffly. Thank you for getting that shout out there. Everyone's doing Stardew. Excuse me. Why is everyone doing Stardew? What is up with the Stardews? It's fine. Anyway, there are our raid messages up top. The first one is for everyone. It's got global emotes on it. Second one is for subs. It's got our personal emotes on it. Let's go hang out with Mimi and continue with this weird Stardew vibe everyone's got going on all of a sudden. As per usual, I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Take care of your dang selves. We will be back this evening at 6 p.m. Central to do indie games and also complete the Sinner's Sandwich for our community challenge. No one can farm because it's frozen outside IRL. Fair point. So yeah, I love y'all. Take care. I'll see many of you later tonight, and if not, I'll see many of you later. Yeah, no, thanks for joining the gang. Teapot. We appreciate you being around, and we're happy to have you. It's gonna be great. But yeah, I will see y'all later. Go say hi to our friend Mimi. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye!